compromising in something as significant as your faith, it just comes off wrong. Let me tell you this. I counsel people all the time. And just last week, I was counseling someone, who made this mistake, married an unbeliever, and her parents were against it. And she said, in fact, she was bent on proving them wrong, proving a point to them that, come on, he's a nice guy and all of that. And that's not to say they're not people who act nice, who don't know the Lord. But listen, when you first and foremost, the Bible just says you shouldn't. And then secondly, there are a lot of things that come with being an unbeliever. You're more likely to be unaccountable, especially to the objective truth of God's word, which is the ultimate accountability. And that's what this is about. So I want to appeal to you. Statistically, I know many people will still not hear word. I mean, counseling that lady, I was almost in tears. And, there's nothing I could do. I've heard wild things, and for I just can't share, but I want to appeal to you, just to the word of God, all right, regarding this. So that's number one, the unbeliever, don't marry the unbeliever. Number two, you know what? Number one is general. So now let me come to the specifics. Let me face the men and face the women, and then maybe we'll end with something more general also. Women that you shouldn't marry. I hope you're ready for this. Number one is the woman who says, I'm not ready. The woman who says, I'm not ready. Let me tell you this. Sometimes it's our fault as guys. Because once you are at the talking stage, or you think you're in the talking stage, the lady can smell you from a mile away, knows what you're after. And if she brings herself to tell you, in no uncertain terms, I don't really see you that way, please don't push it. Please don't push it. Yeah, listen, I know that as the man that you are now, you think you are irresistible, and she just needs more convincing and all of that. And if you push harder, then she's going to agree. But can I tell you this? Listen, if you've had ample time to spend time with each other, you've had lunch together, and just had ample time, and she keeps telling you, I don't want this. You're like a brother to me. Rono, if she tells you, I don't really see you that way, please believe her. Because more often than not, and when I say things like this, people are always quick to say, oh, in this scenario, in 1976, the guy kept pushing and then the lady caved in. Well, there are exceptions to every rule. But more often than not, please don't date her if she already categorically tells you, that she's not interested. Otherwise, she will string you along, sometimes even unintentionally. All right, and it'll just be a waste of time. So that's someone that you should be wary of. Secondly, and this applies both to guys and girls, so just take this as for both guys and girls. Avoid the chronic flirt. Avoid the chronic flirt. This is so important, especially when it comes to ladies. When a lady is committed to someone, she is very unlikely to even consider someone else. And so if you think that you have a girlfriend, but she is giving attention to many other people, know for a fact that you are in the relationship by yourself, and you're dating yourself. So you might want to watch out for that. All right. Listen, and this is not supporting guys who are unnecessarily clingy and overprotective. For some people, everything is flirting. Just talking to any guy is flirting. But you might want to read up what it means to have a flirtatious character. When she's giving vibes, that she's not taking, like there is room. And, even if she's not even having untoward conversations with anybody, but she's acting free, like, she might even throw it around once in a while. I don't like to be caged, and things like that. That might be something to be wary of, because apart from what she is doing, it's also testament to the state of her mind. She just doesn't see you that way. And my advice is that you take that cue and then you duck. The third one I want to talk about is a woman who is materialistic. Listen, a woman who is materialistic, there are a lot of things I can say about this, but let me say this. This is one easy way to know if a woman cares about you. Forget that culture that you see on social media. Let me tell you this. A lady who truly cares about you will be worried about if you have future plans for your finances and all of that. if you just keep throwing money, her direction, because she keeps asking constantly, and she doesn't say, hey, isn't this, shouldn't you slow down? Shouldn't you think about this? It might be a serious sign or a serious pointer to the fact that she's not envisaging a future with you. If she is materialistic, in fact, these are some of the signs. Every conversation will somehow lead to the need for you to bring out money to pay for something, that she needs. Every conversation, no matter what, even if you're talking about the gospel, somehow it has the same end point, So I said that to say that I need this money and all of that. Run. All right, this is very important. You might need to run away from such a person. All right. Another simple way to know someone who is materialistic is her friends. Her friends. You just look at, the people in her close circle, the kind of mentality they have. If they are materialistic, chances are she's influenced by that idea, or she herself is materialistic. So you want to be careful about that. And then it's one thing for a lady to like good stuff, because I need to bring all these balances, because some guys are akagom also, and I don't even think you should marry a selfish guy either, but at the end of the day, when she, and especially because we're talking about dating phase, not even your wife, when she puts all her responsibility on you, in fact, when she's saying she needs these things, she's not even telling you how much she has put aside herself, what she has done, especially things that she won't buy herself. She wants you to buy it for her. She doesn't care about you, and then when you don't do it, she makes you feel bad for not doing it. Or when you have a quarrel, you might be saying sorry, and she won't listen. But the moment you buy her something, then it's all gone. Those are some signs that you should watch out for. All right, and then I think the last I'll talk about is, even though there's a lot more to talk about, and if we have more time, we'll talk about more some other time. The liar. A lady who sees a future with you is going to see the need to be open. All right, if she's always covering things up, especially with the little things, she's just wondering, why did you lie about this? You can't figure it out. That's someone to be wary of, because a lady who is serious with you will be honest with you. It doesn't get simpler than that. If she's serious with you, she'll be honest with you. So if she lies even about the simple things, okay, who is that person? Or how much did you get that? Or where did you go? And then she's always using a lie to also follow up another lie. That's something to be wary of. All right, so now I want to come to the men. Men that you should not date. I want to start with something very fundamental also. Men who are married but not separated. Men who are married but not separated. Please run away from such men. Listen, I'm not saying that they're all bad. We've had like a teaching on divorce, and I've told you how that people actually go through a lot of precarious situations that put them in a position where you can make even a biblical argument for divorce. We've talked about domestic abuse, and when you talk about domestic abuse, people's minds automatically just run to a husband beating his wife. I've heard stories. A woman who will, just pick things to hit her husband. The man will jump from a window. I'm talking about a wealthy family, an exposed family, but the woman has a terrible temper and things like that. But at the end of the day, married and separated is different from divorce. There's this guy who talks about relationship, and he's Black American. I think his name is Stefan. So, he made a very, very important point. He said, when someone says, listen, I'm married, but I'm separated, just hear the first part. Just hear married. That's what you need to hear. If he's very serious, let him make a commitment. Let him settle whatever, he had with the former person, then you can now think about it and talk about it. Otherwise, no conversation. This is very important. Let me tell you this. When it comes to matters of the heart, things about relationships, sometimes we lie to ourselves. And we just think, it's not that bad. Or we think, I know this is what I should do, but he's different. Many of the things that pastors and relationship experts tell you are backed up with statistics. A lot of things can go wrong. He just comes back one day and he just remembers, he just has this nostalgia and remembers all that he has gone through with that first woman. And he says, you know what, I decided to make it work with her. What then are you going to do? Or I really like what I have with you, but it will be good for our children that I stay with my wife. What the hell are you going to do? And then many times, they might even be lying. They're not seeking to come out of the marriage. They're just using it to while away time. A lot of things can go wrong. So please, don't listen to such a man. The second type of man I want to talk about is a man who also, I talked about this regarding ladies, who's not ready for relationship. Listen, and there are many angles to this, but what I'm saying in essence is a man who gives you attention, always in your space, blocking your website, and all of that. In fact, the people who might be really interested in you, they're taking a step back because they see this guy all over you like a fly, but he doesn't make any verbal commitment. This is especially precarious when it's someone you're also interested in and you're just waiting for him to say something. I want to say this. You see, many guys, emphasis on many guys, go for what they want. If he's not saying it, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. If he's not saying it, if he has not verbally told you, listen, I want us to date, either of two things. It's either he doesn't feel you're the one, but he just enjoys your company. And listen, sometimes you might be tempted to just say, yeah, he will still feel like it's tomorrow. But more often than not, he's still looking for someone who meets his criteria and ticks all the boxes. And that does not mean you're not awesome. He just has maybe weird expectations or personal expectations that you don't meet. And it's supposed to be like easy peasy. Okay, no problem, move on. But when you stay there, that's when you will now come on Twitter and say, there's this guy that's been on my space. Now I got wedding invite. Because chances are, if the lady he has secretly been waiting for shows up, he's going to move on. Or he just wants all the things that come with relationship. And this is, like I said, this is a Christian channel, so I'm not talking about sex or touching or any such thing. But he just likes the attention, the friendship and all of that, the commitment, without actually having like a sense of future. Weird ideas. Weird ideas. When he begins to tell you, let's not be particular about the names. I don't have to call you boyfriend, girlfriend. Let's just know that we have a thing going. He's trying to play with you. Don't believe, okay? And just pull the plugs. The second type of man, or the third, right, type of man I want to talk about is the selfish man. The selfish man. And I'm not even talking about selfishness when it comes to money, because we're talking about dating. He's not your father, hey? But anyway, we can talk about that. Even though he's not your father, I think you can check for generosity at the early stages. It's also important. But if I have more time, I'm going to touch on that in better detail. But what I'm talking about here is this. When you when you're dating a man who is so full of himself that he is not sensitive to your emotions, he doesn't care. He's so egocentric, and he just acts anyhow, talks anyhow. When there's a decision to be made, it's his way or nothing. He's not even open to consideration. That's not someone you want as a life partner. That's not someone. In fact, these are the kind of people who maybe spiral into abusing their partners. I'm just saying. So you might want to watch out for that. All right. I'm not talking about someone who is strong-willed. I'm talking about another extreme. It's not even open to suggestions, not open to negotiations, and he just wants his way all the time. All right. And here is one simple way you can know you have such a person, in your life. If every time there is a problem, he always sees you as the problem. Always sees you. You are the one who, they are never introspective. They never sit back to say, okay, this is what I did wrong. Never. They never acknowledge that they are wrong. Never. They never apologize. Please run away from such a person. Otherwise, you'll find that you'll be dating yourself. And you're just going to be in an abusive situation. Even if it's not physical, it's going to be emotional abuse. So you want to run away from such a person. The next person that you should run away from is someone who is just a dreamer. He never wants to do anything. He always has, lofty ideas of things he would do, things he would become, things, but um, when you look at the person's track record, you can't see any pattern of consistency. So in the last 3 years, he has changed jobs 4 times, and in fact, not just changing jobs, because of course it's possible for you to get better jobs and all of that. But what I'm saying is, he will start something, give up, and then just say, at the age of 35, I think my calling is football. That's when he wants to now start a football career, And when you're trying to advise him like, guy, he feels you're not supportive and all of that. So just dreamer. So after he tries football 2 years, he just says, I know it. It's not football. It's dancing, and things like that. Listen, especially because I believe that the biblical design is that the man of the house should be a provider, and should offer a sense of leadership for the house. The worst thing you want is to have a man in your house without a clear sense of direction, without a clear sense of, of leadership. And it's very easy, when you think about it, it's very easy to see patterns in that person's life. Just look at the decisions he has made in the past, and watch out for consistency. Now, listen, some people make this mistake and they go for ready-made, and they now have unrealistic dreams of marrying someone who is already rich, who already has it going and all of that. There are not many people in that age group, in that are still single and have it going for them that way. But there are many Mr. Potentials. I think my wife has talked about this also. There are many Mr. Potentials, but there are also people who are just talkers. They are just dreamers. It's not potential at all. They're just dreamers. And talk is cheap. So even if you have not seen any grand principle of grand evidence of success in their lives, you must at least see progress, no matter how little. You know what they say? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. You must see baby steps. You must see a man who is not lazy, who is hardworking, who is, doing his best, who is working hard to match up to the talk. You see? So listen, even though I've said ladies ought not be materialistic, there are some guys, who shouldn't even be talking and proposing marriage. What do you mean? You're an adult, you don't have a job, you don't have any sense of direction, you still stay with your mom. What? You don't have the right to fall in love. You don't have the right to fall in love. You don't have the right. No. So, and it's very important that in the most polite way, you communicate your expectations. At least, even if you don't eventually date the person, help a friend out and say, you know what, I think this and this and this, are the things I would want in the person that I would date. I think it's very important. So otherwise, if you just compromise, I've seen many ugly situations where ladies compromise like that, and then they end up doing everything. You are the father and the mother in the home. You are the one who does everything, pays school fees, pays house rent, and everything. And people like that, they get worse when they find a woman, who is financially buoyant and doesn't mind. If you don't mind, get ready. Because, he's just going to get all these rocking chairs. Those ones that 75-year-olds use. We just buy it, and be in that chair throughout the marriage. All right? So try just in the simple, most polite way to keep him on his toes. All right? Keep him on his toes.